Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're talking about a movie that stars Sally Hawkins, has a mute character, and has a bunch of motifs and visuals of water. You guessed it. We're talking about The Shape of Water again, baby. No, I'm just kidding. Today our movie in the middle is Bring Her Back. Bring Her Back follows two recently orphaned siblings who are put under the care of a batty woman, but things start to go awry when they meet her other very creepy son, Ollie. It stars Sally Hawkins, Billy Barrett, Sora Wong, and Jonah Wren Phillips. So this is the next movie by the Phillips brothers, who did Talk to Me a couple years ago, and that was their first movie that they did after just doing some things on YouTube, so I hate them because they're really, really good. And this one had been getting a lot of hype about how good it was, how emotional it was, and so I was very intrigued once again to go see what they were going to do if it holds up to what they did in Talk to Me. Starting off with the highs, once again, it is very creepy. Not as much scary as Talk to Me, more so a couple of jump scares, but more so creepy and eerie all the way throughout. There's a lot of mystery, you don't really know what's going on, you're getting little pieces revealed here and there. Just the overall tone of what's happening is very unsettling. Of course, spliced in there are some actually scary things like jump scares or creepy VHS tapes and things like that, but for the most part, it's more about the atmosphere. Although there is an element to this that I didn't expect, which was sort of like a body horror gore element. I have not in a very long time been so shocked and like I could not watch it. I actually covered my eyes. I don't do that often when it comes to gore, but I had to in this one because I couldn't take it. It was really getting to me. But yeah, people are right. While this is kind of scary and it's more creepy and very, very weird at times, it is incredibly emotional at its center. And I'm very pleased with how the Phillips brothers directed this, how they paced the story out, and especially with where they ended the movie and how they ended it. It was very important that they did something that not a lot of movies recently have done, or just in general with horror. I think if they had gone a more stereotypical way, it would have diminished the message, the themes of the movie. So the way that they ended it, I thought was very mature, and it really, really gets you. Like, it is a very sad movie because it's dealing with things like grief and abuse. There's a lot going on here. It's very heavy. And not only the direction in terms of story, but once again in their camera work, the Phillips brothers are so good at moving the camera and doing very interesting things with it. Because if you remember in Talk to Me, there's a lot of these shots where someone would fall over or they would, their head would snap back and the camera would like move with it. So like if they fell back, instead of just showing them falling back, the camera would move to its side with them. And here they do some of those things again. It's not as pronounced, but there are some motions where the camera makes a lot of shapes and it angles and it tilts, and you could definitely tell that it's something that they're going to be doing in a lot of their movies because it's a kind of signature thing for them. And I really do just like the constant themes and visual representations and motifs of water. And there's a couple other things in here, but specifically water is the big one. Lots of reflections and fogged up glass, and then of course, obviously rain. I don't think any one person is going to make this comparison, but I really was just getting a lot of Shape of Water vibes. Not completely, like it's very, very different in terms of story and emotion. But, I mean, it stars Sally Hawkins, two characters with disabilities. One of them is mute, one of them is blind. Then there's just water everywhere. And even the last shot of the movie, like literally how both movies end are exactly the same in terms of what they're representing for the most part, especially visually. So I just thought that was kind of interesting. And of course, I can't get out of this movie and not mention the acting. Sally Hawkins, who up until quite recently I did not realize actually could speak. I thought they got like a legitimately mute person for The Shape of Water, but she can speak, and she does an incredible job in this movie. I've only seen her in a handful of things, namely The Shape of Water and Wonka, but I've never seen her in something where she could pull off creepy and weird, and she does it very well. She's very unsettling. She's that kind of creepy where it doesn't come off right away, There's definitely hints of it there, but you're like, no, she's just being nice. But then it slowly builds up, and then she was very great at the end, where things sort of kind of come unhinged, and you get to see the full of how weird and dangerous she is. Billy Barrett and Sora Wong, I really like their relationship, how they are as siblings. They have all these little inside things, like they have this one thing that, they say where it means like, okay, tell the truth, or are you lying to me? It's a very small thing. I appreciate that the movie doesn't explain that to you on a silver platter. It just lets you figure that out, it trusts its audience. Especially Billy Barrett in terms of the emotional side. He carries a lot of this movie. A lot of it's about him. And he did an amazing job with that. The thing is I couldn't really tell if he was supposed to be like 14 or 17. He looks like he's maybe 25. I'm not really sure. But he did a very good job. But the one who really takes the cake on this one, again, because child actors, so it's a little bit more impressive at times, is Jonah Wren Phillips. Even though he doesn't say a lot, he says a lot. Like his facial expressions, his actions, the things that this child had to go through in this movie. Obviously, he's all special effects and everything, but it was insane. If nothing else, the physical acting that this kid was able to do was great. I only have one middle, and it's more just because it's a personal preference thing. This movie deals with a lot of gaslighting. There's a lot of movies like this where the main villain tries to make the main protagonist feel like they're crazy, and everybody around them that this person is crazy. And this movie does that a lot. It's not my favorite thing. It stresses me out. I will say that it's obviously done very, very well. My only thing is it just makes it a little bit less rewatchable, I think, than Talk to Me. The other thing about that is just, again, this is a personal preference. It's not really taking away from the movie. But there's a lot of stuff about, this whole... Obviously, it's called Bring Her Back, so it's clearly about trying to resurrect somebody and the things that are going to go wrong with that. And I kind of wish there was a little bit more of that in the middle of the movie. It's kind of like one thing, and then we're slowly building to what it's going to be. I just kind of wanted more of that, before. But obviously, it's mostly about the characters and the mind games that they're going through in the first little bit of this. But I just kind of wanted more of that, just because, I don't know, I gravitate towards this stuff. I think it's really creepy. And especially with A24 doing it, and they do that stuff really well, and they have their stereotypical imagery of, fire and naked people. It's always just a good time. So overall, I thought that Bring Her Back was a very worthy follow-up, and actually, in terms of quality and overall authority, I think was even better than Talk to Me. I think Talk to Me is one I can still watch more and be more intrigued by through the whole way throughout. But in terms of emotional weight, this one, I think, no pun intended, blows that one out of the water. I mean, both of them are great, but this one really just hits you right in those last 5 minutes. So I thought Bring Her Back was very well done, and I'm just excited to see what else they're going to do. I'm going to give Bring Her Back a 3.5 out of 4. Well, let me know what you guys thought of Bring Her Back, and where does it compare to Talk to Me. Which one do you like better? And as always, keep your hopes high, your stress low, and movies right in the middle. I'll see you guys later.